Hi guys, so for today's video I'm going to be refreshing my old hair. I'm going to be using the LOC method. That means I'm going to be using first a liquid, which is water, and also a leave-in, which will both act as a moisturizer. I'm also going to be using an oil to seal in the moisture, and I'm going to be using a butter to twist my hair. So first things first, I'm going to be refreshing my hair using water. This loosens up your strands, hence making it easy to separate. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm separating my hair after it is wet because it was pretty tangled and pretty dry. So now it's much easier because it's wet. I will then separate my hair into 4 sections to ensure that I am working with smaller sections. When you have natural hair, you need to ensure that you're working your hair in sections. Don't work your hair ikiwa yote pamoja because that causes a lot of breakage. So for my first section, I'm going to be going in with my water, moisturizing that whole section, finger detangling as I go, just eliminating the huge tangles and the huge knots that have accumulated in the past few days that I had on my twist out. I'm then going to go in with my leave-in, which is the Cantu leave-in. I'm going to further detangle my hair, my strands, and ensure that the huge knots are non-existent basically. So after running my hair, like, you have to ensure that your whole section is coated with the leave-in, with the product. Ensure that all your strands are properly coated, and then go in with your oil to seal in that moisture that you've put into your hair. Okay, so I will be using olive oil to seal in that moisture and to further detangle my hair. You can see my hair is thoroughly detangled and it looks so fresh, and my curls are loose. Yeah, they have loosened up because of the products. I'm then going to go in with a comb to further detangle my hair. You should use a wide tooth comb if your hair is more tangled than mine. Mine was not that tangled, so I went in with a smaller comb. Yeah, as you can see, I was very happy with the results. Then I went in and separated that section into 2 smaller parts that I will then do my matutas. I'm going to be using my Mosara butter to apply on that part so that I can maximize on my curls and to further hydrate my hair to ensure that the outcome of the curl is hydrated and lit and defined. So I have ensured that the whole section is properly detangled. For you to have a proper style, like, you have to ensure that that section that you're styling is properly detangled. The more tangled your section is, the more frizz your hair is going to have, and you don't want to have frizz on the first day. So just ensure that you detangle your hair properly and you braid it neatly. Don't borrow hair from the parts that you've separated to do your matuta, because like when you separate the parts and they're not equal, you'll have to borrow hair from the other parts. And when you borrow hair from the other parts, when you're undoing your braid out, you're going to experience a lot of frizz. So just ensure that the parts are relatively equal. So I did the whole braid out thing, I did the matutas throughout my hair. I was doing a side part for this style. So as you can see, this is one side of my hair that I separated, and I'm going to go in. I was doing a chunky braid out for this style, so that is why you can see that part is so huge. I did the same thing. I went in with my water and then my leave-in conditioner to moisturize that hair and more water to further moisturize and to loosen the hair. If you don't want your hair to be too shrunk, avoid using too much water. Water tends to shrink out your style, so if you want to avoid the shrinkage on your style, just avoid using too much water. So I am further detangling my section to ensure that the braid will be neat and to ensure that the product is penetrating all my strands in that section. I'm then going in with my Mosara butter again, hydrating the whole section and ensuring that every strand is coated so that the part is generally defined. If you want your style to be more defined, you can use a curling cream instead, like a more intense curling cream. I was using a butter because this butter works very, very well for me. It curls my hair very, very well, so that is why I used it. But for my ends, because I wanted my ends to be very, very curly, I used my bouquet custard cream because ilikuwa inaisha. That is why I used a bit of it. The remaining cream, I used it for my ends to ensure that the curl is properly defined. So for the remaining section, I did the same thing. I separated into two, and then I slept in a satin bonnet and spent the night and my hair dried overnight rather. So I'm going to go in with an oil as I undo my braids. This is the following day. The oil will help in ensuring that your style is shiny, like your hair will have a nice shine and a nice sheen to it, as opposed to a greasy feeling. And then the undoing part of the braid out is as important as the braiding part. You want to ensure that you're gentle with it. Don't be too rough when you're undoing your braid, because this will lead to you experiencing a lot of frizz in your style. You don't want to commit your time doing a whole matuta throughout the day, throughout the night, whatever time you're going to spend doing your matutas, and then when you're undoing it, you mess it up because you're too rough or you're too impatient. Be patient when you're undoing your braid. I was actually doing it very fast because I was in a hurry, but yeah, as you can see, my hair was so defined. I knew at this point that my braid out would be a success. So you can imagine if I had used the cream, it would have been even more defined. So it just depends on what you want to achieve. I wanted more volume, so that is why I used a butter for this. After you have undone your matuta, you want to separate your hair how your hair naturally separates. Just let your hair guide you, and then take smaller individual strands and just curl them up towards the end, just to ensure that the curl is maintained. So that is what I did throughout my head. Just undid my matutas and then separate my curls the way they naturally separate. I was doing it quite fast. Make sure you're patient during this process if you want your hair to have very minimal frizz. So up to the last section, you can see me now. I'm doing my last section. Separating it now to ensure that it is not too chunky. Yes, and I was done undoing the whole head by that time. So I went in with my afro comb to further fluff out my hair, just to increase volume. You want to do this to ensure that your hair looks fuller, and ensure that you're fluffing out your hair on the roots, at the roots. Don't fluff out all the way because you will eliminate your curl pattern. So just ensure that you're fluffing it out at the roots. Basically, that's what I did throughout my head, fluffing it, pangaing it. You have to panga your hair. Just style it the way you like. I liked it. It was very defined, it was very voluminous, it was fresh, it was clean, neat, bouncy, and that is what I wanted to achieve with this style, so that it can push me a further 2 to 3 days, and then I can wash it. Do this when it is extremely necessary, because if you want your hair to grow properly, your natural hair, you just have to ensure that you're really not manipulating it too much. So overstyling your hair manipulates your hair, so you don't want to over manipulate your hair. do this only when very, very, very necessary. Yes. I was so happy with this outcome. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed doing it and creating it and editing it for you guys. So yeah, let me know what you think. And this was the whole outcome. I loved it. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Mwah.